Good morning, students. I am going to start with hydrogen bacteria. Okay, I am going to discuss hydrogen bacteria. Okay, good morning again to all students. Okay, hydrogen, as you all know, is one of the important element or important constituent of living organisms. And hydrogen may be produced and hydrogen may be produced during the anaerobic degradation of various organic substances in sediments or anaerobic microhabitats in the soil. And many bacteria have the capacity to utilize this hydrogen. A large part of it is metabolized. A large part of it is metabolized by the bacteria that are associated with the hydrogen producing fermentative path. Okay, and they are also oxidize hydrogen with the reduction of sulfate to sulfide or carbon dioxide to methane. Okay, so the hydrogen bacteria are related to various sulfur bacteria as well as the methanogens. Okay, it has been found in the case of methanogens. Okay, along with methanogens, hydrogen bacteria are also found. Okay, so today, okay, right now I am going to talk about the various aerobic bacteria which possesses ability to grow chemoautotroph with the molecular hydrogen. Okay, right now I am going to talk about aerobic bacteria. And in contrast to other organisms, hydrogen bacteria use a wide range of organic compounds as carbon and energy source. Okay, and one of such and most of the bacteria are placed in the genus Hydrogenomonas, and the enzymology of the hydrogen oxidation has been extensively studied by Hans Siegel and his co-workers, and most bacteria have a single hydrogenase which catalyzes these reactions. Okay, so there are variety of substrates. Now some of the genera, okay, which get contain one or more species capable of chemoautotrophic growth with the hydrogen, okay, in which gram negative alkali genes, Aquaspirillum, Azospirillum, Dorxia, Flavobacterium, Microcyclus, Paracoccus, Pseudomonas, Rhizobium, Spirillum. Okay, in the case of gram positive ones, Bacillus, Arthrobacter, Mycobacterium, and Nocardia. That in the case of aerobic bacteria. Okay, when we discuss the aerobic bacteria, these bacteria basically oxidize hydrogen aerobically with oxygen as the terminal electron acceptor. Okay, and under designation of aerobic hydrogen oxidizing bacteria. Okay, and one more thing to remember is they are able to fix carbon dioxide and thus are autotrophs. On other hand, these are also able to utilize organic substrates also. Okay, there are some other examples. Thus, hydrogen oxidizing bacteria are facultative chemolithoautotrophs because sometimes they may also undergo heterotrophy. Okay, they may also undergo heterotrophy, and a few aerobic hydrogen oxidizing bacteria can also oxidize carbon monoxide and can grow with this as an electron donor and the carbon source. So the isolation, okay, so the isolation requires, okay, a medium, okay, a medium containing inorganic salts uh, under a gas mixture of 70% of hydrogen, 20% of the oxygen, and 10% of the carbon dioxide, and 10% of the carbon dioxide volume by volumes. And the gas are metabolized approximately, okay, by using hydrogen, oxygen, and carbon dioxide, forming water and a sugar, forming water and a sugar. And under such conditions, such as aerobic conditions, and bacteria are easily brought into enrichment culture and isolated from the soil inoculum. Okay, and they include most rapidly growing autotrophs with a doubling time of around 3 hours. Okay, and all these reactions, when we talk about enzymatically, hydrogenase, okay, hydrogenase, a membrane bound hydrogenase is used in the oxidation of hydrogen, in the oxidation of hydrogen. Okay, so hydrogen enters the metabolism, okay, the hydrogen enters the metabolism by means of hydrogenases. And there are two types of hydrogenases which are found in aerobic hydrogen oxidizing bacteria: a soluble NAD plus reducing hydrogenase, also known as H2 NAD hydrogenase, okay, more specifically H2 NAD plus oxidoreductase, okay, more specifically H2 NAD plus oxidoreductase, which is present in the cytoplasm, and a membrane bound hydrogenase. Only few bacteria such as alkali genes Eutrophus or alkali genes Hydrogenophilus possesses both the kind of enzymes, and Nocardia contains the soluble enzyme, with the majority of the other bacteria in this group have only one type of membrane bound enzyme. And both kinds of hydrogenase can catalyze the energy of hydrogen from the respiratory chain, and the process of ATP generation is also very efficient. Okay, and the composition of the respiratory chain in alkali genes Eutrophus or Paracoccus denitrificans is almost similar to that occurs in the case of mitochondria. Okay, so why do they need two different hydrogenases? Okay, they can also go for only a single membrane bound, but it is beneficial to them. Okay, so selective advantage of producing two hydrogenases is obscure, because either alone would be seem to be adequate to support growth at the expense of molecular hydrogen. The possible explanation might lie in the differential activities of this enzyme with the different concentrations of the hydrogen. If the partial pressure of hydrogen is very low, as it often in nature, the soluble hydrogenase cannot function because its equilibrium shifts to the left, and thus low tensions of the hydrogen growth depends on the particulate hydrogenase to provide the electrons for the respiratory chain. So here is the use of both the hydrogenases. Okay, in the case of low concentration of hydrogen, as you all know, in the environment there are very few hydrogens in the hydrogen gas, which is present in very low quantities. Okay, so here comes the use of both the hydrogenases. At low tensions, okay, soluble hydrogenase cannot functions. Okay, why? Because its equilibrium shifts to the left one. However, if the partial pressure is high, that of hydrogen, NAD coupled reactions would obviate the energy requirement imposed by the NADH formation via reverse electron transport, and thus a soluble hydrogenase appears to be specific adaptation to growth of the presence of the high partial pressure of the hydrogen. Okay. Now these are some of the examples of hydrogen oxidizing bacteria and their hydrogenase. Okay, there are two types as I told you. Okay, one is a soluble one which is NAD plus dependent, and a second one is a particulate one which is cytochrome dependence. Okay, alkali genes, aquaspirillum, azospirillum. Okay, where there is question mark. Okay, where there is a question mark, still they have not confirmed the activity. Okay, now in this, as per new research, alkali genes possesses both the type of hydrogenases. Okay, spirillum. Next one of the interesting bacteria is also Ralstonia eutropha. Okay, which is basically studied for the hydrogen metabolism. Okay, and other gram positive such as Mycobacteria, Nocardia, Arthrobacter or Rhodococcus opacus. Now the mechanism, how the mechanism works. Okay, how the mechanism works. As I told you, Ralstonia eutropha, in which both the hydrogenases were studied. Okay, membrane bound participates in the energetics, whereas cytoplasmic makes NADH for the Calvin cycle, and some hydrogen bacteria have only the membrane bound hydrogenase. In this organism, reducing power is synthesized by reverse electron flow from Q back to NAD plus to form NADH. Okay, now starting with the process, let's say this is one is a hydrogen, which is further catalyzed by the enzyme cytoplasmic hydrogenase. Okay, and this one is a membrane bound hydrogenase. Okay, two electrons are further passed to the quinones and to the chain of cytochromes, okay, where at the end oxygen, in the presence of oxygen, oxygen will be converted into a water molecule. At the same time, cytoplasmic hydrogenase converts NAD plus into NADH. Okay, and in the presence of ATP and carbon dioxide, okay, it goes forward with the Calvin cycle to produce cell material. Okay, cell material which is required by the cell, such as carbohydrates, etc. Okay, and at the same time, hydrogens are also passed on here, and the concentration will be proton gradient As a result, a proton motive force will be generated, which basically activates ATP synthase. Okay, so overview. Okay, cytoplasmic hydrogenase basically oxidizes hydrogen, and it is transferred from NAD to NADH, where NADH, in the presence of carbon dioxide and ATP, undergoes Calvin cycle and forms cellular material. At the same time, membrane bound hydrogenase transfers the electrons to quinones, and from quinones, which are passed through a series of cytochromes, and finally in the presence of oxygen, water molecule will be formed, and hydrogen, okay, which are basically accumulated at this point, okay, will create an gradient, and due to which a proton motive force will be generated, and at the end ATP synthase, okay, gets activated and it will convert ADP into ATP, ADP into ATP. Okay, now moving forward with the photographs of the Ralstonia eutropha. Okay, this is a transmission electron micrograph of the negatively stained cells of hydrogen oxidizing chemolithotropes. Okay, and as you can see, it possesses several flagella. Now, before moving forward with our next topic, okay, you need to understand this one. Okay, this whole diagram. Okay, the hydrogen bacteria is over now. Now I'm going forward with the lactic acid fermentation. It is similar what you have studied in unit 2. Okay, as well as we will also cover various other fermentations such as butyrate and propionate, even butanediol one. Okay, but you can see in this pathway, okay, from a one single one, it is passed through a variety of substrates, which is being done by variety of bacteria, which is being done by a variety of bacteria. And the lactic acid bacteria such as Streptococcus, Lactobacillus species, Bacillus species, or enteric bacteria are passed on to a variety. Okay, so starting with the end product, of the glycolysis, which is pyruvate. Okay, in the presence of NADH, okay, pyruvate will be converted into lactate, and it will be done by lactic acid bacteria such as Streptococcus, Lactobacillus species, as well as some of the enteric bacteria and Bacillus species. Okay, now the second scenario where ethanol will be formed. Okay, Okay, this is being governed by the yeast. Okay, this is being done by the yeast and Zymomonas species, where pyruvate will be converted into acetaldehyde and acetaldehyde will be converted into ethanol. Okay, now the third one, the propionate, okay, which is being governed by the propionic acid bacteria, example Propionibacterium species, where pyruvate will be converted into oxaloacetate through a series of reactions, and malate, fumarate, and succinate, and after succinate it will be converted into propionate. You can see similar, it goes through a TCA cycle. Okay, it goes through a TCA cycle. Okay, this chart will be not asked in the exam, but it will help you to understand various fermentations, okay, which I am going to cover in the next lectures. Okay, now the next one, okay, is an Enterobacter sciatian bacillus species, which from 2,3-butanediol, okay, where pyruvate will be converted into 2,3-butanediol by the bacteria such as Enterobacter sciatia or bacillus species, in which intermediates are alpha acetolactate and acetoin. Okay, now moving further, okay, in which pyruvate will be released as hydrogen and carbon dioxide, okay, will be released. Okay, where in the first case pyruvate will be converted into formate with the enteric acid bacteria, with the help of enteric acid bacteria, and formate will be again converted into carbon dioxide and hydrogen with the help of again enteric acid bacteria. Okay, now moving forward, pyruvate will now be converted into acetyl CoA. Pyruvate will be converted into acetyl CoA, where acetyl CoA will be converted into acetyl phosphate and finally acetate Okay, and this will be done by the enteric bacteria again, Okay, this will be done by the enteric bacteria again. Okay, and from the acetyl CoA again, in the presence of bacteria such as Clostridium, it will be converted into acetoacetyl CoA, and it will be converted into acetone, and finally isopropanol. Okay, also it may undergo also into the formation of butyl CoA, and from butyl CoA it will be converted into butyl aldehyde, and finally it will be converted into butanol. From there are also other chances where butyl CoA may be converted into butyl phosphate and finally butyrate, but you can say this is an energy forming reaction. Okay, from which is basically conversion of butyl phosphate to the butyrate. Okay, butyl phosphate to the butyrate. Now moving forward with the acetyl CoA, again will be, now the next scenario will be converted into acetaldehyde, and from acetaldehyde it will be converted into ethanol. It will be converted into ethanol. Okay, now this one is a whole